Mr. Adam from Department Head Law and Criminology, Department of Law and Criminology, University of East London.
Behind my presentation because it's the second year I've been here, and last year we had a number of students who signed up to our programs, some of whom are doing incredibly well. A large number of them are getting the equivalent of merits and distinctions, the highest possible marks for their qualifications. One of the students from last year has actually been able to achieve a placement with the United Nations. He's doing work in New York as well as in London as well. So it's very, very pleasing to be back here, and I hope we're going to inspire the next generation of students to possibly undertake one of our programs as well. As has been introduced, my name is Adam Doyle. I'm the head of Law and Criminology at UEL, and it's a great pleasure to talk about our programs here today. So, when it runs, there we go. So first and foremost, I don't run the program myself. My program leader, Barry Collins, runs the LLM Programs. And an introduction from him. He wishes he was here today and sends his apologies. But the idea of what we try to do with our programs has been consistent for the last 40 years in which law has been taught at UEL. We want to create an intellectual environment for our students that is also friendly and supportive. Our goal is to help you become the best you can and to grow and learn in new ways and to achieve your goals with our support. So student support is a key function of what we have wanted to do from the very, very beginning. The history of law at UEL is about empowering our students to reach their career aspirations, to break down barriers and to seize opportunities to make sure they are able to get the career they want to get. And the thing is, we want you as a student to just not merely think as you're a student taking the LLM, you are part of our community. You're not only being taught by your professors and lecturers, you are interacting with them. You are part of the community where we talk about what we do in our research and what we do well. We have great links because our academics are not only research driven and therefore have impact across the globe as well as nationally, but also we have practitioner faculty as well who have key connections to government bodies and organizations to make sure that we open doors for the students who take our courses. The other thing to bear in mind is we recognize the need for internationalization. The fact is the world is, despite what people might say about Brexit and various other things, is becoming a smaller place, not a greater one. We, as global citizens, evolve and develop by building bridges, not barriers. And it's one of the key things which we see as very important with the programs which we offer on our law degrees. So, a bit of history of the LLM. We have taught law for over 40 years. The creator of our law school at UEL was an apartheid campaigner who was there working in South Africa to break down barriers between communities there, and it's something which is seen as still very important to what we do today. We have always had an international focus on our LLM programs, and international students always make up at least half of our cohort. So don't feel you're going to be alone if you're coming in and say, well, I'm not going to be the only person from India. That's certainly not the case. 12 students, as I said, out of our cohort came from the INBA Fair last year to study on our law programs here. Students come currently from over 40 different countries studying law within my department, and therefore you are part of a global community, and we are therefore trying to work together in a global way. The LLM modules themselves are taught by research active staff, so they use their specialisms to make sure you are taught the cutting edge of what you need to study and what you need to know, as well as the skills to be able to use this knowledge in the most effective way. The classes are as follows. The typical LLM, and this is the one I'm going to talk about for the majority of the presentation, lasts 3 semesters. There are 2 semesters of classes, and the 3rd semester is of a dissertation or a work-based project. The classes are taught in our custom-built campus at University Square, Stratford. Has anybody been to East London before? Anybody here been to East London? Excellent. Do you know where the Westfield is? So we're 2 minutes away from the Westfield. We're 12 minutes on the tube into central London. We really are a genuine London campus. The classes are taught in the evenings from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m, so it gives you the chance to work during the day. And that's really important from a networking perspective as well. Many of our LLM students are already in practice, and therefore they are already barristers or solicitors. They are developing their knowledge. It's a chance for you to make contacts as well for your own career, to be able to see exactly what sort of career opportunities are available, but also what sort of things you need to know when you make your job applications. The classes will take place over 2 evenings per week in a semester. So each semester you'll have 2 evenings of classes, or 3 hours in duration. Each module is 1 evening's worth of classes. In semester A, you'll be doing 2 modules in 2 evenings, and you do the same thing in the following semester, semester B. The student body, as I said, is incredibly international. It reflects the international focus of our programs. And it also reflects the fact that people who study law might not always be lawyers. You're going to get the chance to mix with people who work for non-government organizations, government bodies as well. It's a nice chance to see the skills which you learn on your LLM, to see how they work in society as a whole. For after all, ladies and gentlemen, law is a social construct. We should hope a good legal system is reflective of a just society. And that's the sort of thing which we try to put into our vision. So they are a good networking opportunity, as already discussed. Our research in the most recent Research Excellence Framework was 99% seen as deemed of international quality. We are a genuine international law school. Our LLM team is always research active. This research is brought directly into the teaching to make sure it's up to date. We have law centres which are as follows. The Centre on Human Rights in Conflict, which is just one part of a £20 million international grant on women's rights and sustainability and land rights in conflict zones. We also have the Centre for Islamic Finance and Communities. They are both research active. They invite speakers to come in from across the world. Global experts come in to speak to our students on a weekly basis. So it's not just about the classes, it's the opportunity to see and evolve your learning and make it more holistic by listening to our guest speakers and guest academics as well. The learning resources are supported by online materials, but also a library. Library opening is 24/7. So in other words, the library is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the exception of Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So the fact is you are able to use these libraries to support your learning needs, and you also have access to the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, the largest law library in the UK, which is based in Russell Square, just a short tube trip away. But the thing to bear in mind is it's not also about studying, it's actually doing as well for your career. Our law clinic is something we're particularly proud of, and we also have a mediation hub coming in 2019 as well. It is the only face-to-face law centre for the borough of Newham in which we are based. Members of the public, and we talked about access to justice earlier this morning in the first panel discussion, members of the public who are unable to afford legal advice come to our law clinic to get their case fought. You have the chance as a student working with our supervising lawyers to actually get involved and make a genuine impact upon real people's lives and really hone your skills very, very quickly. It could be because they are unable to pay, it could be because they are vulnerable adults, like in the Romford Autism Hub. We have been nationally recognised for the work we do with helping members of the community. And therefore, it's a really big opportunity which we support as part of our programmes. And that's important, particularly if you want to be a barrister or solicitor in the UK, you have to try and get that sort of experience to show you're able to apply your knowledge in a real world type situation. So the LLM programs, they come into 3 main types. The first one is the general LLM program. We have 4 pathways within that program to specialize your LLM in a particular way. We also, though, I wanted to advertise this because it's brand new and it's something that might be of interest because it's not on our website yet. We are the first UK university to offer a 2-year LLM program, the second year of which is a 10-month work placement with a law firm in the UK. So it is something which is obviously going to be of interest because it's something that's part of your degree, which is marked and validated and approved by the university. And of course, employers will be asking, well, what did you do on your placement? It's a way to make you distinctive. And as it stands currently, we're the only university to do this. It's so new, it hasn't been validated yet. It was supposed to be validated today, but I'm here. It's going to be validated on Tuesday when I'm back in the UK. So it's going to take place then. What we're doing, because there's nothing up, we can't advertise the program fully yet, come to my booth afterwards. If I take your name and email address, I'll be able to give you information about the placement. There are currently only 30 placements available, because getting law placements with law firms is hard. For the rest of the world, it will be accessed via competitive entry. But because of our connections with the Indian National Bar Association, INBA students who are taking or want to take this program in September 2019 or January 2020, as long as there are still places left, and many people signed up earlier expressing interest, as long as those places are there, you have a guaranteed entrance to that placement year if you meet the entrance criteria. The other LLM we have is the Energy and Natural Resources. So it's the general LLM and the Energy and Natural Resources I'll be focusing on today in this presentation. If you are interested in the placement, come and find me afterwards. So the LLM program, you have one core module for all students on the Masters, and that is called International Law, Problems and Process. You get to look at a mixture of private international law and public international law, see what the issues are globally and how these issues can be resolved. It's a very important skills module as well. And then you have to do 3 other modules from a range of options. They could be advocacy, interventions and practice, or human rights advocacy, taught by Jacqueline Analu, who is a UK advisor to the UK government on human rights issues. It could be financial crime, taught by Alistair Mackenzie, a senior lawyer for the Financial Conduct Authority, a government body based only 5 minutes away from our campus. It could be international human rights, taught by Siraj Seth, a global expert who is an advisor to both the United Nations and the World Bank. You'll be taught by leading practitioners and academics in that field. You can choose the modules which show that are relevant to yourself, but they're being taught with strength and also make sure they're most current to the knowledge you need to have. The pathways you have are as follows. You could have an LLM in transitional justice, which you've got to do international law, problems and process, and war and human rights, and then choose your optional modules. Or you could do international law and legal practice, which is international law, problems and process, and advocacy, interventions and practice, combined with optional modules. A third one could be human rights advocacy. You have to do your core modules again, plus your option. Or your fourth way is business and finance, which is going to be international law, problems and process, and international law and business combined, and regulation of financial markets, plus one optional module. So what we have is an LLM. We have one core module, but if you choose other modules within that range, you could possibly make your master's a specialist master's with a title by choosing your module selection. The other option to LLM is going to be for the Energy and Natural Resources program. That has 2 core modules, oil, gas, law and policy in your first semester, regulation and governance of energy in your second semester, and then you can choose from a range of optional modules which exist across our general LLM. The course information as follows. The general application process is a requirement of a 2-2 honours degree. We look at students on an individual basis. We appreciate that different universities have different standards, different grades, as a result of which we welcome applications from all students and we will consider them on an individual basis. Bearing in mind we have lots of people who work for non-government organisations, a large number of our students might have a social sciences background. So if you are a criminologist, for example, and you decide to do a change for law, you can still do our LLM with a criminology degree or a social sciences degree or international relations as your basis. There are 2 separate intakes. The first is in September 2019. The second is January 2020. And because of the fact I don't have any materials here, we don't normally offer scholarships. Because my materials are missing and you've got to have things sent through to you, I'm going to do a special scholarship today for any student who signs up for that intake and take £1,000 off the fees because of our connections to the Indian National Bar Association. That is not a standard scholarship, I hasten to add. This is just a scholarship specifically for students who have come to these law fairs both here today in Delhi and Saturday in Bangalore. The entry requirements are IELTS 6.5 with 6 in each component. But the key things I'd say take away from this are the international focus, the location, the research-led modules, but also, as well as the scholarship, I'd also say think about the placement. The placement could be the thing that makes your career because it is the chance to take your legal knowledge, apply it, and then build it together for what's going to be your area of expertise. Thank you so much for listening. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. Sir? It's a £1,000 scholarship at which we're taking off. Sorry? So the deposit's usually around about it's usually around that amount of money. The details are on the website. There's a range of flexible options there, so talk to the finance team. I'm afraid I'm a humble academic. They don't trust me with the money. I hope that answers your question. Anybody else? Otherwise, it's a pleasure meeting everybody today. I look forward to seeing some of you hopefully next year and to continue the success we've had with students who attended the INBA fairs. And may I take this opportunity to wish you every success in your forthcoming assessments and studies. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get into touch. Many thanks. Have a good afternoon.